Well, hello and welcome to the Brian Hornback podcast. It is episode 57, and we are talking today. This is being recorded on January the 19th, and we're talking about what was a pretty big day in the lives of the Knox County Sheriff's Office employees. Started out the day, today was supposed to be the day that Martha Dooley had her grievance. There was 2 days scheduled for the Martha Dooley grievance hearing, today and tomorrow, January 19th and 20th. Sometime yesterday afternoon, the Merit Council got word that the lawsuit, Tom Spangler, in his official capacity as sheriff of Knox County, and the Knox County Sheriff's Office versus Knox County Merit System Council and Martha Dooley, was that they were summoned to the Chancery Court this morning. So at 8:30, well, right at 9 o'clock, when the Merit Council was supposed to meet, they met for, I'm told, about 2 minutes. Long enough to say, we're not meeting. We've been summoned to Chancery Court, and so they immediately went to Chancery Court. When they got there, Chancellor Hagerty apparently, began the day and began to. Again, I wasn't there; I had to work, so I'm relying on multiple sources that were there. The bottom line is, Chancellor Chris Hagerty, has apparently ruled that the Merit Council can hear the Martha Dooley grievance hearing. Now, I hear that the whole proceeding was kind of comical. Gary Prince, the attorney for Knox County Sheriff Tom Spangler, who at last report on BrianHornback.com back in October was well over 100,000, somewhere in the neighborhood of 125,000. I'm sure after today we're going to be close to 200, if not over $200,000 out of the Sheriff's Department budget, out of his contractual whatever that he's paying Gary Prince out of. But Mr. Prince tried emphatically, from what I'm told, and Chancellor Hagerty told him that there was a crack. He had a crack that he might be able to go through. He consulted with his other attorney that was there, and they never got there. So the ruling stands. They have 45 days to appeal it. From what I'm told. Now, let's also recognize that Tom Spangler, in his official capacity as Knox County Sheriff in the Knox County Sheriff's Office, have also sued the Merit Council in a second lawsuit regarding another grievance hearing coming up for Nathan Cole. I think, from what I understand, that is also in front of Chancellor Chris Hagerty. And my understanding is we'll probably, within about 9 days, have a similar incident where Chancellor Hagerty will again bring in the attorneys, different attorneys. Martha Dooley has lawyer John Valiant. Nathan Cole has local lawyer Lance Baker, and I'm at a loss for the other one's name at this point. But let's go back in time, okay? Let's go back to about November. At the infamous Knox County Commission meeting in November, Knox County Law Director David Book wanted to completely upend the rules and the ordinances, and wanted to revert the Knox County Merit System Council, or the Knox County Merit System for the Sheriff's Office employees, wanted to revert it back to state law because he said that since they had imposed the rules back when the charter was started back in 1990, that all the other law directors before him had got it wrong, which would also be his immediate predecessor, who he worked for 8 years, Bud Armstrong, who just so happens to be running for chancellor of the Knox County Chancery Court in the May 3rd Republican primary, not against Chris Hagerty. So the county commission said, we think you might be overreacting a little bit. They didn't really say that, but the county commission didn't take any action. They tried to put it off for 30 or 60 days, which in my mind was a very wise decision. Now, hindsight's 2020, and looking at it from December 19th, the majority of commissioners were accurate or were right to kick the can down the road in November, because what the law director told them was wrong. The law director said, and he's on tape, he's in the minutes of the county commission meeting, repeatedly saying, I have repeatedly told the merit council this is not a grievable offense. They cannot hear this grievance hearing with Martha Dooley. Well, the law was not on the law director's side today. His opinion did not match the chancellor's ruling of the law. So, rough morning start for the sheriff. Then this afternoon, after I got that story up, I got phone calls that apparently over in Anderson County today, if you'll remember back some time ago, former Knox County Commissioner Scott Davis was arrested. Somebody had tried to serve process for a civil lawsuit, I'm assuming. Again, I'm going by memory of what was reported. I didn't report on the incident at Scott Davis's home in West Knoxville, but a lot of other people did. The Knoxville News Sentinel wore it out. I think it was on TV. Another certain internet website that they used to be employees of the News Sentinel. I'm not talking about Compass. Not talking about Compass, but another website really had a heyday because process server comes to Scott Davis's home, tries to serve him. I guess a verbal argument ensued. Supposedly, punches were thrown. Supposedly, a gun was brought out. Supposedly, he assaulted a dog. The process server calls the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department shows up. They enter his home. They take him into custody. Lots of, again, a lot of the news media that don't particularly like Scott Davis write about it. They gloat about it. I believe his mugshot was printed. But anyway, fast forward to today. Nobody in Knox County, none of the criminal court judges or general sessions judges were going to hear it. So it ultimately wound up with a change of venue to Anderson County. So upon viewing some video of what happened at Scott Davis's place, the 3 felony charges that I'm told he had, which I think a couple of them were aggravated assault and one of them was a cruelty to animal, was immediately dismissed. The judge dressed down, admonished are the 2 words that I was told, the officers that had arrested Scott Davis. And my understanding is that the the judge informed that so there's 2 misdemeanor charges still pending. And my understanding is the judge told them that they better come with more information or he was going to dismiss those 2 charges pretty soon. Again, just like in the Martha Dooley, what happened in the Chancery Court this morning and what happened in Anderson County, I'm relying on sources that I believe, and sources that I believe I know my sources were in the courtrooms, and I know that they know what they're talking about. So, rough day for the sheriff and for the sheriff's department. Again, I don't like it for the officers, but for the administration, you know, it comes with the territory. You know, when you put your neck out there as a sheriff, you want all the credit, but you got to take all the blame too. And really, back to this lawsuit, right when Glenn Jacobs and Tom Spangler were both brought into office in September of 2018, there was a lawsuit going on. Bud Armstrong, the Knox County Law Director, and David Book was his right hand. They were suing the county. The county was suing the retirement board. So the retirement board was having to then sue this county. And so Tom Spangler, who draws a pension from his retirement, wanted that lawsuit done away with. And so he and Glenn Jacobs, rightfully so, ended the lawsuit with the county suing the retirement board countersuing the county, yada, yada, yada. Okay? What I don't understand is that was in September and October of 2018. Now let's fast forward to January of 2020, and we have Tom Spangler in his official capacity as sheriff suing the Merit Council, which are 3 appointed individuals from the county commission to serve on this Merit Council. You have 3 full members, and then you have an alternate. And if one of the 3 members can't be there, then the alternate gets to vote. And so it's deja vu all over again. It's the county, Tom Spangler in his capacity as sheriff, suing to stop a grievance from an employee that feels that they've been wronged by the sheriff. The Merit Council exists. I served on the Merit Council as an alternate member back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The Merit Council exists for the men and women of the Knox County Sheriff's Office so that the sheriff cannot make political or decisions that aren't proper in layman's terms. So in other words, the sheriff can't arbitrarily fire you like somebody in a normal everyday job. He has to have reasons. And it has to all fall by the Merit Council rules. And so the council's there, they know the rules, they live with the rules, and they ensure that all those hiring decisions and all those promotions are done the way they're supposed to be done. It's supposed to stop folks from being able to, it's supposed to keep the sheriff in check. So in other words, if somebody supported the sheriff, it doesn't allow the sheriff to just promote them to a position just because they supported him and they worked for him in his campaign. At the same time, it protects those employees who may have liked his opponent from that person being terminated or sent somewhere else as a demotion. So that's that's what the Merit Council's there for. And so now we have a sheriff who has taken a public information officer, moved her out to Farragut to a clerk position, somebody who was a news director at the ABC affiliate in Knoxville, Tennessee, who's had that position since about 1994. So when he was chief deputy for Tim Hutchison, and when he was in the administration of Jimmy J.J. Jones, and then he became the sheriff for a brief time while Jimmy J.J. Jones was sheriff. He worked with Martha Dooley, who was the public information officer. But, when he was elected, rightfully so, he brought in someone to be his public information officer. Don't have a problem with that. It's cool. But, again, Martha Dooley was in that job, so he moves her to a clerk position, but he takes her car away from her, and he takes her gas card away from her. And so I believe that's really what's at dispute. Now, Gary Prince, the attorney that, apparently none of the 9 or 10 attorneys in the law director's office can represent the sheriff. Apparently, he's got at least 2 attorneys, used to have 3 on payroll, but Butch Bryant has retired. So he's got Mike Rubel, and he's got former District Attorney General Randy Nichols on the Sheriff's Department payroll. Apparently, they can't do it, so he hires Gary Prince, who's an outside attorney, who's done work for the sheriff over in Blount County. And so we're spending money for Gary Prince to do all of this work. But then we're getting this result, okay? But Gary Prince, about to lose my train of thought. Gary Prince has argued that you can't provide a personal vehicle to a sheriff's office employee. Well, I've already done the work on that. There's about 400 cars out there. And I asked them to tell me, what employees had 24-hour access to the cars and what employees could only use them during work hours. They never, when they sent me the open records, they sent us one list. So, the assumption I have to make based on the request I made in my open records is that everybody gets to drive at 24 hours. Well, if that's true, then that's great, but I don't think it is true. I believe that when some of them are driving them when they're clearly not on duty, that would be personal use. I'm not going to go any further with that personal use of vehicle at this point. Just because I don't feel confident of the information I have at this point. And we're at 19 minutes already. But interesting day following government in Knox County. Certainly an interesting day for the Sheriff's Department. It was really interesting, and I can't pull it up right now, but they posted a warning on their Facebook today about warrants. And apparently there's a scam going around about needing to meet somebody or pay somebody because you got a warrant, and how they'll never do that. But, I guess the argument could be made that, well, David Hayes didn't get the warning that the Sheriff's Department mentioned in their warning today on the Facebook. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you had for those of you that are faculty members or staff of the Knox County Schools. Looks like you're going to get a whole week off this week. Obviously, Monday was Martin Luther King Day, which was a holiday. And Tuesday, yesterday, you were out for, was it bad weather? And then today, you were out for illness. And tomorrow and Friday, you're out for illness. Over 600 people, 600 staff members are out, and about 200 of those staff positions were not able to be filled today. So I hope those of you out there that are battling the crud, if you listen to my last podcast, I had the crud. It's gone away now, obviously. It's all good. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Brian Hornback podcast. Check me out, brianhornback.com. Twitter is mega_bullhorn, MEGA_bullhorn, BULLHORN. Facebook or Instagram, just type out brianhornback.com, DOTCOM, Brian Hornback, one word, DOTCOM. At the end of that, you'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on Instagram, and we'll be back again real soon, I'm sure. So y'all have a great week. Stay safe, stay well, stay warm. Stay safe if you're out on the roads, and stay well if you're battling any of the cold or COVID or any of that good stuff. Thank y'all.